TV's not on over there. I can tell from here. And now they went off. Yep.
All right, are we recording? I haven't heard it yet.
Recording in progress.
Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Amy, if you would do roll call.
Absolutely. Commissioner Dibdahl?
Here.
Commissioner Cronin? Here. Commissioner Wire?
Here.
Commissioner Shaw?
Here.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor Lindsay.
Here. And we are commencing in a Board of Commissioners, first of all. So with the Board of Commissioners agenda in front of you, do we have a motion to adopt?
I think I might have missed the top of the agenda here, since this uses our default agenda. This would be the board, the equalization board. Yeah.
Board of Equalization?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
that's my fault.
Oh, yes, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Got it. So we are commencing as a Board of Equalization. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And so the first thing on here is, Domingo, would you like to come up and, speak to the commission?
Hello, thank you.
There is a button on the front,
Okay.
and then if you push that, and you'll see a little red light come on
To turn your mic on.
to turn your mic on.
Oh,
There
there
you
it
are.
is. Okay.
And then for those that are at home, if you would state your name first,
Domingo Rocha.
okay?
My wife and I came here in '23. We bought a house on Fifth Street. I didn't catch it last year, but this year I saw that the tax evaluation was $100,000 higher than we paid for it, which seemed a little unreasonable. The house is a beautiful house, but it had been neglected for years and years. And so I've been spending the last year and a half repairing and doing some things, but there's still quite a bit to be done. So I was just requesting a reevaluation on the tax value of the property.
Okay? Two things in that are asked when you ask for that is a valuation on the land itself, and then a valuation on what you feel the house should be. And that, do you, have you done that?
Well, I didn't separate the two. I was just, my experience has been that the tax valuation is usually never higher than what it actually sold for.
Okay?
You know, we bought it for $350 and it's valuated at $450.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I will explain in that is that there is a difference between sales value and values for equalization for taxation. And when property is valued for equalization, the assessor looks at the property itself, the size of the property, the amenities the property has, and compares it to the properties in that are comparables. And so we did, as commission, receive comparables, and that for evaluation purposes. And part of that is so that someone doesn't say, well, you know, this is what the house should be valued at, but I'm going to sell it to so-and-so and that at a reduced rate, you know. So when something happens like that, that lowers the sale price, but it does not lower the valuation for equalization or how that home would compare to some other homes.
Does it take into consideration the deterioration it had because it wasn't occupied for quite a few years?
Well, I'm gonna speak first in that. When we looked at the comparables that we received from the county office, the comparables ran from a high of $283.77 per square foot.
Oh, okay.
Then the next comparable was $221.43 per square foot. The next one down was $165.28 per square foot, and then $145.79 per square foot. And then when we take the square footage of yours, it does come in as the lowest one for equalization at $130.23 a square foot. So I guess what I'd like to ask you is, understanding the difference between sales price and price for equalization for taxation purposes of other houses, do you have a number in mind?
I was not aware of that distinction. When they, what square footage do they use?
What I used in here was the total finished square footage that is recorded on the paperwork and that we received from the county. And so on yours, it lists 2626 square feet above grade and 672 square foot in the basement.
Okay, that sounds
For
up.
a- For a total of 3,298 finished square footage.
Okay. Well, I certainly didn't measure it. When we bought it, it listed at 2,600 square foot finished.
And I can understand that because sometimes, and we do have a realtor on board here, sometimes they only list the main floor
Okay,
when they have it listed for sale. And again, correct me if I'm wrong.
We list the complete finished square footage, so
Okay.
the main floor and the basement, so I believe it was 3,058.
Okay.
because, I mean, the house we sold in Maryland was 3,200 square feet, and this finished space, and this is clearly, I mean, smaller than that. It's still pretty large, but it's not as big as what we left. So I had just taken 2,600 to be that. How about the condition of the place? Is that taken into
Well,
account?
usually it is, and I guess that's where I would see where the per square footage comparable
Yeah.
of yours is $130 per square foot, and the highest is $283 a square foot.
Wow, yeah, quite a difference there.
So there is, so there is a difference there. But again, do you have, from what we've discussed, do you have a value in mind that you feel would be fair?
I was thinking 400 for the total.
Okay? Okay, and with that, I'm gonna ask the commissioners.
And you don't have a breakdown of that 400, what you feel is the home value and what is the parcel value, is that correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't have any way of distinguishing from that. The parcel's pretty nice. It's been neglected too, and it's got some shifting hillside and that needs to be worked on, a dead tree and stuff. But I wouldn't have any way of separating the two.
I think this is what it is.
I can speak a little bit towards the structure versus property value. So that's something that the equalization office asks everybody as part of the application to distinguish, because they look at comparisons on land, they look at comparisons on property, and this
Right.
property, buildings and property, excuse me, and this property, the land itself is a quite large one as well, so I think that's where it comes into consideration. For your perspective, the proposal from the equalization office at the 429.5,
Yeah,
the land value they propose is 64,600, which is about 15% of the total. So if you're looking for a ballpark on what the proposal was, ratio, that's what they used.
okay.
15% on 400,000 would be $60,000 for the
For
land.
the land?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, that's completely up to you to state what you feel like the land and structure value should be, though.
Does it matter how it's split?
I
It's
think for
all-
their future.
It's all taxed the same.
Yeah, the total's all taxed the same. I speculate that in the future, when they look at comparables and they're looking at land versus structures,
Ah, I see.
they're breaking those out. Yeah.
I'm just doing some penciling on my own here and that. And if you felt that 400 would be comparable in that for taxation purposes, I guess I would, look at it as 50,000 on the land and 350 on the building. And then again, I'll open it up for commission discussion.
And just overall at 400, then we would be looking at $130.80 a square foot. Does that sound right to you?
A little bit louder.
So if we were gonna do 400, and the square footage is 3058, we're at 130.80 per square foot.
Okay, I'm going by what they have on here as 2626 on the main floor and 672 on the downstairs, and I come with 3298
298, okay.
as finished. And I did calculate it at $125 a square foot and came up with 412,250. I don't have an issue with him seeing it at 400.
I don't either.
Others?
I
I'd be
also
in
think
agreement
that's,
with that.
I also think that's fair, you know, I think we've seen like a 6.5% increase, 350,000 plus a 6.5% increase is putting us right at 375. And then plus another half a year or third, or a quarter year here, so I don't think $400,000 is out of line. But wouldn't we keep the land as the same value and only devalue the structure?
That, either way is possible, which would then put the land, or the sale of the house at, well, I didn't subtract 64.6, but it'd be, if we went 60 on the land, and it'd be 340 on the house. I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll make a motion to adjust it to 340,000 for value on the house with $60,000 on the land, totaling $400,000 total for, the property.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we will forward this information on to the county,
Okay,
and then the county has the option of either agreeing with us or disagreeing with us. And so when it comes up for the county and that, you may want to go over and visit, you know, be there also to answer any questions.
how will I know when they're meeting?
James, I don't know, I don't know when to tell you. They
Okay.
typically meet on Tuesdays, but I guess I would have you check with the Director of Equalization upstairs in the courthouse
Okay,
and have him let you know when they're going to be reviewing this.
okay,
And this is the only appeal that we have, you know, so, you know, chances are they'll do it, you know, like we are doing it during a regular meeting and that, but check with him at the courthouse and ask him.
and where will?
Domingo, I will send you an email with your completed application with our ruling
Okay.
and the information needed for their hearing.
Excellent. And where is that held? Is that in this building too?
No, that would be held at the courthouse, which is over on the, east side of Egan Avenue and
Opposite.
First Street.
Opposite the library? Okay, very good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
right. Thank you for being here. All right. So with that, we will move
We need-
forward
Do we need to?
into the review of the 2024 assessment rolls, which have been passed around. Is there anyone that sees anything in there that they have any questions on? If not, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept. The assessment rolls?
The assessment rolls, yes, for
Make a Motion
2024.
to accept the 2024 assessment rolls.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, do we have a motion to adjourn the Board of Adjustment?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So now, at this point in time, we will move into the Board of Commissioners. And since we've already done our call to order and our roll call, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda for the Board of Commissioners meeting?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there anything anyone wants to discuss on the consent calendar? If not, do we have a motion to accept the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to accept tonight's consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no unfinished business, under new business, Resolution 2025-06, submit Recreation Trails Program grant application. Ryan Jameson?
I'll take this one.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In 2024, the city had approved its master plan for recreational trails, and our intent is to attempt to do expansions of that trail when it is feasible. In the past, we've tried for this RTP grant, Recreational Trails Program, and we have been unsuccessful in our first 2 years, but we are undeterred, and we are going to try it again a third time. This time will be for a new area. So previously, we were looking to put a trail around the fishing pond that we have here close to our building. And we are now looking to go along Silver Creek, Silver Creek, did I get that right?
I believe it is,
Okay,
yes.
wasn't sounding right to me. Silver Creek, so essentially from Highland Avenue to Egan Avenue, the creek follows a lot of city property, and there is a couple private properties along there as well. It'd be too much to do all at one time, so we are looking at having this first phase be from Highland Avenue to Union Avenue. At this point, we are just looking for approval to submit this RTP application. Typically, the determinations are not finalized and made public until, I'm going to say November. It's very much closer to the end of the year. And so this isn't something that would be a construction project for 2025, but if awarded, we could plan to do it in 2026.
Discussion, questions or comments?
I'll make one more note here. The grant, the grant stipulations are that it can cover up to 80% of the construction cost, so it's an 80-20 grant. Last year, we applied for 70-30 to try to get us a little bit higher up on the pile of consideration. And this year, we would also recommend doing at least 30%. By the time we finalize cost estimates, which we do not have yet, we might want to look to see if we want to alter that even further. But that's why this resolution reads a minimum of 30%.
Any questions or comments?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
I had a question, I guess. Is there a certain scope that this grant is aiming for that we've been unsuccessful, or is this going to provide us a better opportunity, I should say?
Yeah, so Mike and I met with the state employee who runs the program from the staffing side of view last year. So they come out every year and they look at the application area of note. And one question that we had for them is, do they like to see applications for projects that are enhancing an area, further developing it and beautifying it, similar to what I would equate our trail around the pond would have done? Or do they like to see connectivity projects that are connecting through a community, different areas of town, different amenities? And he said that generally they like the latter. And so we're hoping that this would be more of a connectivity trail that allows people to go from one area of town along a aesthetically pleasing creek to our new city building, as well as to the creek, or to the pond that we have here for fishing purposes. Long-term, if we can get that second phase then from Union Avenue to Egan Avenue, through that area in one way, shape, or form, that would connect to the existing trail that we have, which ends right on the east side of Flynn Field and goes all the way out to Lake Madison. So that would then connect people all the way from Lake Madison all the way to the west side of town.
Mike, would you like to add?
I think he covered most of it, pretty thorough. Just the one thing about it is this has been one of the requested things that the citizens of Madison's have requested multiple times through the surveys. With that being said, the current rec trail that we have is used a lot by pedestrians walking to workplaces and stuff from their homes. So that helped with trying to get some to the Manitou factory and some other places, you know, people that are walking and stuff, so for transportation and be off the street. That basically is the only thing I got to say. I mean,
And correct me if I'm wrong in that, but there were more applications than dollars available, from what I heard last year, so that, you know,
correct.
was part of it too.
I think every city, municipality, and a lot of, is applying for this trail grant compared to what it was 10 or 15 years ago. The current trail that we have was obtained through this grant in the past, so it would work hand in hand with moving forward with that.
Again, we do have a motion on the floor.
So do we have this surveyed out, and is that the next step before this grant's submitted, or?
Yeah, so right now, we are getting cost estimates so we can know what numbers to enter into for the grant, and then we'll also get a nice layout for where it'd be going. We have one easement to secure, and the landowner is open and willing to work with us on that, but we still are finalizing what that easement looks like. And then once they review this, if they get back to us and award it to us, we would do a lot more surveying and designs for how that would go. It is likely that this path would require one bridge going over the creek. That is a big expense, as is a long trail like this. But we're optimistic that between grant funds and city services, whether it's us providing some of the labor to help with some of that construction, and then some of our own local funding, that we can bring all the pieces together to make this puzzle work.
I'll second Adam's motion.
Other discussion?
It was when you said 30%, what, can you go?
We pay 30, they pay 70.
Okay.
Yeah, so the maximum is 80-20. We know it's a very competitive process. It seems like every year the state gets the same amount of federal dollars for this. Costs are going up, so they can essentially fund less each year, even though they have the same amount of dollars. So we're trying to be as competitive as possible, and I think other cities are also looking at not doing the 80-20, but are trying to get a better leg up on the competition.
Other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 12, authorize the mayor to sign amendment to owner engineer agreement 2304-01069 KLJ Engineering LLC. And again, Jameson, Ryan, you want to address this one?
Yeah, thank you. So this amendment would be additional design related to storm drain modifications on Egan Avenue. This is to accommodate off-site conditions that were unknown or unreflected at the time of the initial contract. So with this amendment, KLJ would modify the storm sewer design at Fourth Street intersection. This would allow them to collect and convey all that water coming from offsite areas to the west. And then this would also help us in the future to accommodate any extension of storm sewer on future projects. In addition to the storm drain modifications, the upsizing to accommodate those offsite flows requires them to do adjustments to the water and the sewer alignments and grades within Egan to accommodate that larger pipe. So it required them to do a little bit of rework. They also had to do a structural analysis of the connection to the box culvert, and then they had to develop a concrete collar detail, updated the drainage analysis of the revised system, and then updated the design plans. So it did require them to do a little bit of rework. They also did kind of along the same lines on 7th Street. So we modified the storm sewer design between 7th and 8th Street to reroute the water from an undersized outflow pipe in 8th Street and plan for a larger future outflow pipe in 7th. So this will pay dividends not only on Egan Avenue, but in the future. So again, this is adjustments to the water and sewer alignments that had already been planned to accommodate that larger pipe. It also includes a little bit of private utility coordination with other utilities, so we can get around them and accommodate that larger pipe. And then they also updated the drainage analysis and the design plans on this portion as well.
Okay. And again, the amount of the adjustment is,
$25,500.
okay. And the reason I asked that is for the public at home.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that off the top.
Okay. Other questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign amendment to owner-engineer agreement 2304-01069, KLJ Engineering LLC, and in the amount of $25,500.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a couple seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 13, consider the award for bid number 972, Sidewalk Improvement Project 2025-1. Ryan, is this one in your court?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Total of 6 bids were received and opened on February 27th at 10 a.m. Received 6 bids this year, which is a lot more than we're used to getting. The estimate on the project was $240,000, and bids ranged from $269,561 to $154,861.40. That lowest bid was submitted by T&M Concrete LLC out of Sioux Falls. Post-bid, because we haven't worked with that company before, we'd done some research on them and then contacted the low bidder. They were comfortable with their bid. We were comfortable with them as a contractor, and staff recommend awarding that bid to T&M Concrete.
Questions, comments? If not, do we have a motion?
It's nice to see this many bids.
It is.
It's been a while, so that's good. With that, I'll make a motion to award bid 972 Sidewalk Improvement Projects 2025-1 to T&M Concrete LLC in the amount of $154,861.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 14, authorize the mayor to sign change order number 12, Northwest 9th Street and Union Avenue reconstruction with Winter Contracting. And again, Ryan, do you want to address this one?
Yeah, thank you. So this change order is being presented for the final adjustment of quantities on the project. It's just our last step in order to rectify all those with the contractor. This would reconcile both of the overrun and underrun quantities on the project. It results in a net increase of $43,877.72.
Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item number 14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 15, authorize the mayor to sign change order number 4, Park Creek Walls Improvements, Site 3, with Kesselut Excavation and Dirt Work Services. And again, Ryan, are you addressing this one?
Yep. So this change order is to a couple of things. One is we added a valley gutter. That valley gutter was identified late in the project to complete on the east end of 3rd Street. There was a valley gutter there before. It didn't survive the construction. We were trying to retain that in place. It just didn't happen, and it wasn't really the contractor's fault. So we wanted to put that valley gutter in there to then drain the water and direct it toward the creek. There was some additional riprap rework and unclassified excavation done in the grading limits in the channel. This was to better erode or to better armor the bank and then transition some of that riprap to better direct the water. That was an increase of $4,750. There was some landscape rock needed at the northeast corner of the church. It was about $2,500. Some fencing, that was temporary fencing put on there for safety reasons. There was a large drop off at the edge. That fence was $560 in increase. And then the last component of this change order is a final adjustment of quantities. That is a reduction of $83,291.50. So with everything together, this change order would modify the final contract price with a reduction of $70,664.55.
Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 16, March finance updates. And Jameson, I'll turn this over to you and Amy.
Okay, we have some finance updates for February. The update covers year-to-date through February of 2025, 16.16% through the year, and one update, no election held for 2025. Cash on hand and general cash, we have $14.02 million, investments $5.9 million, checking $7.18 million, money market $686,000, other $254,000, restricted cash $625,000. We have our revenue guidelines for 2025 February. Expenditure guidelines. By fund. by fund year-to-date for '25.
Yeah, thank you.
I missed that, Adam. Okay.
Somebody came in my office, sorry.
It's, yeah. Sales tax for February were up 0.92%. 12.52 for the year. The graph. And any questions?
Questions at all? Comments? No? Very good. Okay, do we have any public comment? I don't believe we've got. Okay, under announcements, applications are open to fill vacancies on our Community Center Advisory Committee with a term ending December of 2026, and our Housing and Redevelopment Commission with a date going through February 2029. So anyone interested in serving on either of those committees and that, contact our offices. Our next regular commission meeting will be April 7th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Recording stopped.